Okay. Testing? Yeah. Welcome. Welcome. Oh man, it has been a while. A while. Like a long time. So, yeah, wow. Hope you guys have seen my new Discord. Right. Well, I figure we could just play like a horror game. I don't know. I'm actually very bored. I have to go to football practice in the morning, so it's kind of crazy to think that I'm doing this right now, but yeah, I'm just basically gonna do this every night. Try to grind, maybe get people on the stream, but I don't know. Maybe. If you guys haven't yet, go check out my Discord, because Discord is awesome, especially mine. So yeah, go check it out. Here, let me fix something. Still a little bit rusty on streaming, but we're doing okay. We're doing just fine. Just fine. If I had a chat right now, they'd be telling me what to do, but that is also a problem because I switched from... I'll be back, guys. I just now realized that it took me to this brand new one and I don't have any of my widgets. Which makes me so mad because now I'm gonna have to do this mid-stream, dude. I'm gonna have to fix it and I don't wanna have to fix this stuff, man. I should not have to. fix my be right back thing and my start. I don't even think my alert boxes are hooked up to YouTube right now. I don't think they are. I'm sorry, guys. I did not want it to be like this, but I did not think it was going to take this long for me to do this. Because I did not want it to. To be really, really fair, I did not want it to be like this. This is a test. Okay. Yeah, good, good, good. Yeah, definitely need a chat box. That's ideal. Alright. That's fixed. Now all I need to do is fix my stream deck. Because my stream deck is all messed up. Hey, I'm going to jump into a game for you guys because this is definitely a boring stream. Oh. Okay, yeah, that's fixed. Okay. I need to delete all this stuff. Delete that. Delete that. Delete that. Right. All new stuff. That's good. Yes. We're going to put that in. Because we need that. Yes. What is this one called? Just have to make sure. There you go. Oh. Yeah, that's gonna be annoying. I'm not even. Yeah, I have to. Oh my. Okay. Well, now I know. I hate it because every time I try to do something on this, it brings me to a new thing, and you guys saw that work that I literally just put into that. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Brand new. Because what else am I supposed to do? Okay. Whew, wow. This is tough. This is very annoying. This is very, very annoying. That means I'm going to have to relink everything from my Streamlabs setup to like everything. Wow, this is something else. It really is. I'll keep it as this, and I'm just not gonna use, like, I don't need all this extra stuff, man. Don't need that. That's for, yeah, I don't need that. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I literally, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I literally have to do everything over again. I'm so sorry, guys. I mean, it's literally making me so mad right now. Guys, once I get this all figured out, I'm just gonna... Of course, every time I do this, though, I have nobody in here. So that's... You know, when I actually try to make an effort to stream, I have nobody in here, which is okay. That'll build over time, and there'll be, hopefully, that one person that'll be here, and he'll just, like, stay here. Right. Now we need our alert boxes. So copy that. Source, browser, new, yes, yes. Alert box. Perfect. Okay, that's good, that's good, that's good. Chat box can go over here. And okay, guys, I am slowly progressing again. Slowly progressing. Fast, fast, fast. And this is perfect because all I have to do is do a quick wada boom bop pow and do a new, yes. See, we'll get through it together. If I can, all right. Now the first one needs to be, and then the next one. All right, perfect. And then for BRB, I'm deleting this one because I do not like it at all. I am going over here, and then I'm going to put the BRB one back in. There we go. It's working perfect. Guys, next stream, this will all be figured out. I just kind of had to rush tonight, but that's okay. Hey, my phone is finally at 1%. That's good. Alright, perfect. Alright, that's all set up. Now we're just going to jump right into the games because I'm not going to worry about anything else. I'm not even going to worry about my stream deck. Who cares about that? Let's go. It is 10:02. Okay, I don't know how long I'm going to be on. Let's just start one of these games and play it for a little bit. And yeah, we just got to hurry. Residence Massacre is an amazing game. I would definitely recommend it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, literally right when I'm trying to do this too. You know what? Let's react to horror videos. Here. Let's fix this. I want to make sure I... actually get this right. Okay, yeah. Let's find a good one. Oh. Let's watch one of these.
I was on my first cross-country road trip.
Okay, first of all, that's a guy. That is a man. What?
Traveling alone in my new Lexus. It was the third day on the road, so I was somewhere in South Dakota on a desolate stretch of I-90. I had been delayed a couple hours due to heavy traffic, so it was the middle of the night, and I was still 50 miles from the hotel I booked. Even worse, I was running on fumes. I had neglected to get gas until it was basically too late, to the point that all the gas stations I was passing were closed. I was almost forced to camp out in my car at a gas pump for the night, but then I finally saw a station with their lights on. I pulled off the road and approached this lonely gas station that to me was my glowing salvation. Of course, when I tried to pay at the pump, it told me to see the cashier. I figured going in would only be a minor inconvenience, but that all went out the window when I saw the cashier. He was this greasy, unkempt creep who looked—
Buddy, like, if I go into a gas station and I see Buddy like that, bro, I am going in there and I'm giving him a bar of soap, or at least a huge bottle of freaking the Duke Cannon stuff, bro. Like, oh my gosh. This dude is filthy, bro.
Looked way too happy to see a woman walking through the door.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
When he smiled, he revealed horrid plaques on his teeth, and when he opened his mouth to say hello, I could smell his breath. I can still remember what it was like. Dry mouth, rotten sugar breath, and tonsil stones.
Oh, bro.
Before I could say anything, he said, "What's a lady doing traveling alone in the long, dark night?"
What are you doing here in the middle of the night working at a gas station? Where'd they say they were in the middle of what? South Dakota? Like, bro, what? Who is going on a highway in the middle of nowhere at midnight, bud? Especially who's working here, bro.
Replied that my boyfriend was with me, but he said he knew I was lying because no man would ever send his woman to go pay for anything.
True.
He was trying to act like this sophisticated, cunning charmer, but it wasn't working in the slightest. I tried to brush it off and say I needed gas at pump 1. The cashier replied saying he was going to pump 1 later while glancing down at my chest. I told him to cut it out, that it wasn't funny and that it wasn't going to work. Then I repeated myself about needing gas. This creep just kept going though, telling me that I must be tired and should settle in for the night, suggesting I stay with him, which I flat out rejected. I was trying to be nice, but it was taking everything in me not to go off on him. The only reason I kept my cool was because I was alone with him, probably for miles. Finally, though, I was able to get him to go through with the transaction. Then I walked out the door, ignoring whatever he said as I left. Back at my car at last and pumping gas, thanking the stars that I was out of that store, I suddenly got hit with the extreme need to pee. That sort of thing had been happening to me a lot on the road, where I forget about peeing and don't notice until it's suddenly an emergency. I realized I'd have to go back in there and use the bathroom unless I wanted to piss my pants. The creep behind the counter seemed even more pleased when I showed up again.
Either I hold it.
I asked him where the
Either I hold it, or I'm pulling over on the side of the road, bro. I'm not going back in there. I'm like, even if like I wouldn't even tell my parents, bro. I just hold it until I get there. Like, I am not about to go in there with that creepo, bro. Like, nah, bro.
Bathroom was.
Go in a bush.
And he pointed to the corner.
Women,
I rushed in there and triple checked that the door was locked before sitting down to pee. I felt huge.
Okay, bud, but what is this? But why was the lock on the out? Look, watch this. Why is the lock on the? Okay, maybe she's inside, but like, why is the lock? I was about to say, why is the lock on the outside, bro?
Triple checked that the door was locked before sitting down to pee. I felt huge relief. But then, as I was almost done, I heard something. The door was jiggling. I looked over, and the lock was turning. The door handle turned down, and the door started to open. I quickly stood from the toilet and pulled up my pants, but I wasn't fast enough to keep him from getting a peek. The store behind the cashier was dark as he stood in the doorway, staring at my groin, smiling from ear to ear, almost drooling. I screamed at him to leave me alone, Then I reached for my keys on the sink and clenched them so they stuck out from between my fingers.
Yeah,
But he
stab
laughed at
him,
me
bro.
and said that wasn't going to be enough to stop him. I thought I was going to have to fight for my life as he took a step inside the bathroom. But then, I heard something else that made him stop. There was someone banging at the door, yelling at him from outside. It was a man's voice,
Oh, what is
and he
this?
was angry, cussing at him for being lazy and not doing his job. I could hear him saying, "I can see you. Let me in. I need gas, asshole." From the sound of it, he sounded drunk enough to break through the glass. The cashier's smile faded as he turned and walked away. He must have locked the doors and turned off the lights just as the guy was pulling in, which would have pissed me off too. I waited a few seconds for the lights to come back on and to hear the guy get inside before I took my opportunity to run the hell out of there. I jumped into my car and locked the doors, then I raced away. I didn't think to call the police, I just fled. By the time I made it to my hotel, I realized it was probably too late anyway. In the morning, I found the place on my maps and called the phone number. The first thing the manager said was that they weren't even supposed to be open at that hour. They then asked me to describe the employee I encountered, and
I'm gonna guess they're gonna say he didn't even work there. Like, oh, I don't even remember that guy ever even working there. Watch it happen. Watch it happen. Watch this happen.
they seemed to recognize him instantly.
Oh,
Apparently, he had been fired a few days prior for getting too many complaints from female customers, but he never
female. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
returned his uniform or his keys to the building. Knowing this, it was obvious that he had been using the lure of being the only open gas station on that stretch of road as a trap for someone like me. The managers said they would review the tapes and contact the police to get him for
I'm not even putting myself in this situation. Like, I'm gonna be brutally honest. I'm not gonna put myself in this situation. Especially if I'm a woman, bro. I'm not going back in to go to the bathroom. I don't care what that dang thing takes, bro. I really do not care, bro. I'm not going back in there. I am not gonna go back in that room, bro. Or in that station.
trespassing and possibly for assault. But unfortunately, I never heard about what happened. I left town that morning
Yeah.
and routed around it on my return trip. Since then, I always carry a knife, a taser, and a bottle of pepper spray with me.
That's
If that random drunk guy hadn't come banging on the door when he did, I would have experienced hell on earth. Back when I was in college, I worked the overnight shift as a waiter at one of those gas stations with a restaurant attached to it. Around my second month there, this guy started coming in regularly, always between 1:30 and 2 a.m. He had greasy blonde hair with a scruffy beard and always wore the same thing, an old army jacket, jeans, and scuffed up boots. Every time he came in, he'd order black coffee, sit in the same booth near the window, and stare outside. After a week, he started trying to chat with me. His voice was hoarse, like he'd been screaming or smoking too much. He asked me my name, and I hesitated before saying my name was Jackson. He nodded and repeated it a few times, like he was trying to memorize it. Then he started to talk to me, or mostly to himself, about all the cities he'd been to that were called Jackson. He chuckled to himself about a memory his voice had trailed off into and took a sip of coffee, so I left him alone. Over the next couple of weeks, he kept showing up. He was always alone, always ordered the same coffee, and always sat in the same spot. I slowly became curious about this guy, and one night I was finally bored enough to ask him his name. He looked at me, blinking like I'd woken him up from a daydream. Then after stammering a bit, he said, "Ben."
Excuse me.
Something told me he was lying, but I didn't press him. I tried to make small talk, asking if he worked nearby or if he was just passing through. He laughed, a weird, humorless shout, looking away as he said he didn't work anymore, not since he married that lot lizard. The tone of his voice let me know the conversation was over. I had learned more than I wanted to. I was more than well enough aware of trucker slang to know that a lot lizard was a truck stop hooker, so I started to think this man was just trying to get away from his wife. After that night, we didn't talk anymore. He kept coming in, kept ordering the same thing, kept sitting in the same spot, until suddenly, he didn't. 2 weeks went by without a sign of him. Then, one night, the door chime rang, and all the air in the room stopped dead. I looked over and saw Ben standing on the doormat, but everything about him was wrong. His jacket was gone, his jeans were torn, all his hair was matted to his face, and for some god-awful reason, he was absolutely filthy. Ben stood there for several seconds, while everyone in the room stared at him, until my boss finally called out and asked what the hell he was doing. All Ben said in response was, "Don't look at me."
Oh, shut up.
Immediately after, Ben began shuffling across the tile, never breaking away from his 1,000-yard stare. He stumbled like he had been injured, but he had no expression of pain, only an emptiness that far exceeded his typical state. Nobody made any motion to approach him, as he made his way to the restrooms and locked himself in the men's room. However, a while passed, and Ben never came out. Eventually, my boss told me to go check on him. I knocked on the door a few times to no response. I kept calling his name, but I heard nothing from inside. My boss yelled at me to get him out of there and threw me the bathroom keys. I didn't want to invade Ben's privacy, but it was basically a direct order from my boss, so I put the keys in and turned them, then slowly opened the door. To my surprise, the bathroom was completely dark. Ben had shut himself in and turned off the lights. I called his name quietly, asking if he was okay. All I heard was breathing. Loud, labored breathing like sheer panic. I pushed the door open the rest of the way and let the light from the rest of the store spill in. I saw Ben standing with his face stuffed into the corner. His arms were crossed and tightly squeezing his chest as it rocked up and down from his breathing. Again, I called his name as loud as I could manage. Ben finally, slowly, turned his head around to look at me. His eyes were shockingly wide, almost shining back at me like a nocturnal animal.
Ugh.
I couldn't look away. As I stared, Ben took in a full breath, then shattered my ears with the loudest scream I've ever heard. "Don't look at me."
Like,
A
bro,
second
what's
later,
wrong with you?
he charged out of the bathroom.
What is wrong with you, bro? Like, you just go in the bathroom and just sit in the corner. Just a guy sitting in the corner, just literally doing nothing. Don't look at me! Sir, the door is wide open and you're sitting in the corner in the bathroom. What do you expect?
And ran straight into me. He pinned me to the ground and clawed at my face. He kept screaming, "Don't look at me, don't look at me." But I had my eyes shut tight and my hands covering my face to keep him from gouging my eyes out. Soon after, people came and ripped Ben off of me, but they weren't able to hold him. When I opened my eyes, I saw him running out the door with another chime of the bell. The police were called, but by then, he was long gone, and unfortunately, the security footage was too pixelated to identify him. Thankfully, Ben, if that's even his real name, never came back. It took me a few days to feel comfortable going back to work there, but I eventually just wanted to move on and forget about it. However, a few weeks after the incident with Ben, a customer as I was serving mentioned something that made me think of him. The body of a woman in her early 30s was found in a ditch a few miles down the road. She was suspected to be a prostitute, and she had been beaten to death. Her remains had been decomposing for weeks. Instantly, everything clicked. With the timing with Ben coming in all dirty and screwed up, and the lot lizard he said he married, I was sure that it was his wife. I went to the police with this information, and they thanked me for my input. Sadly, as far as I know, they never managed to find Ben. I quit that job several months later to focus on school, and that's the last I heard of it. So, he's probably still out there.
Yeah.
Back in
Nah, bro. Y'all, if y'all want to see me make a full video on this, I can. Sorry it was a short stream tonight. I will make a video about this like tomorrow or something. But yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow, maybe afternoon. I will hopefully have the new office set up, and yeah, I will see you guys then. Yeah, thank you for watching.